let us begin with the brainstorming of the 2.4 poem, Have You Earned Your Tomorrow? The first question even here is, discuss with your friend how he or she spends the whole day that was beneficial for others. Now these are just example answers which I have solved. I want all of your answers to be different from each other. The first I have written is that he or she helped somebody carry his bags. Second, helped some elderly person with his housework. Third, I have written that talked politely with everybody. So these are just my point of views about helping somebody or making somebody's day. Now I want you to modify these sentences or rewrite in your own words. Now the next question is A2, that is the first one. ... Was it well or sorely spent? Now this is particular line from the particular poem. Now that line from the poem is, did you waste the day or lose it? Was it well or sorely spent? You have to give illustration. That means you have to explain this particular line. Answer of this particular question. The poet asks the readers again and again one only question, that how do you spend your day? Did you spend it wisely or did you just spend it as you did not think of spending it? Okay, it also means that we are busy in our own lives, acting in our own benefit. So instead of behaving in a selfish manner and living for only yourself, the poet asks you, or he advocates you to live your life for the betterment of others. You can see in each stanza there are some questions asked, and each stanza the answer is left over for the reader, that is for us to give. Like in the first stanza, he asks that, did you make anybody happy today? Did you give anybody time today? In the second stanza, he asks you that, did you give anybody a cheerful greeting today? Or somebody was grateful for your help? In the third stanza, and so on. So here we come to know that the poet wants us to be polite and have compassion for all the living creatures around us. He also gives this particular message in the entire poem. He advocates us to live life mindfully and freely and help others in whatever manner possible. Now let us see the second option or the second sub option. As you close your eyes in slumber, do you think that God would say, you have earned one more tomorrow by the work you did today? Elaborate the idea expressed in these lines. The poet says that each day we should utilize it to make somebody's day. He only wants us to be, more mindful, be more kind, love more every day. We get one more day to do good deeds, which in return allow us to live for one more day. This is the idea behind the particular line, that the act of kindness that you do on this particular day will be counted tomorrow, and it will give you earn one more tomorrow for you. There are so many questions in our minds, such as, did we make anyone happy today? Did we encourage someone? Did anyone remember us for the act of kindness, and etc. If not, we must understand the importance of our birth, and then what should we do with it? Whether make somebody's day or waste it. It is not this way that we should waste somebody's day, but it is like that, did we encourage somebody or did we help somebody, and in return did that particular person pray for us? If that particular person has prayed for us, then God will be happy with us. This is the particular idea behind the poem actually. Now let us see the third sub option. The poet suggests that one should do good to others. Complete the table by giving examples of doing good to the following people. Now there are family members, friends and neighbors. Some answers are given to you already. I don't want you to copy the same answers. Try to understand what you have to do here. In what way will you help your family members? You have to, give two such instances. How will you help them? For example, if you're going to help your brother, you might say that I might help my younger brother or elder brother in his work. I might help him in studies. Or you can say that if you have to help your, some of the family members like your father or your mother, then you can help them in their household work. So if you want to help your friends, likewise, how will you help your friends or how will you help your neighbors in this particular way? You have to write the answers. This particular question is actually to be solved on your own. This question and this particular question you have to solve on your own. Next is A3. Let's see here. Pick out the describing words in the poem and add a noun of your own. One is done for you. So the first here I have given cheerful person, churlish welcome, selfish behavior, simple lifestyle. Okay, now the other words are, see here now carefully. Cheerful person, churlish welcome, selfish behavior, simple lifestyle, kindly actions, grateful person, feeding hopes, and sleeping time. Now what I have done that one of the particular all these are adjectives actually. All these adjectives I have taken from the poem itself. As you can see here, these are these particular words here. Happier, then you have churlish, then you have grateful, selfish, and so on. So this particular adjectives I have taken from the poem and I have just added one particular noun to it or one particular word to it. Now let us see the next. Match the words given in the column A with their meaning in column B. Now the first is cheerful. What is the meaning of cheerful? Cheerful means to be happy. Selfish. Selfish means one who is concerned with one's own pleasure, one's own happiness, is not bothered with others. Sorely. With a feeling of disappointment, means he is not happy and he is always in disappointment. Discontent, lack of satisfaction. Now the third is here. There are a few examples of homonyms in the poem. Now what do you mean by homonyms? Homonyms are words which have the same sound actually, rhyming sound, or you can say the sound of the words is same. When you spell the word, they spell differently, but the way they sound, it is actually same, but they have two different meanings. Now, for example, spoke is given here. One spoke is the spoke of the the wheel, a spoke of your bicycle or your bikes, and the second spoke is the verb. It's actually the past of speaking. Now we have to make the list of homonyms from the poem and give their meanings. For the following, question are. Second is past. One past means to left behind or go past somebody, means pass him. And second is to achieve success. Now the third word is deed. Deed means an action. And the second homonym for deed is a legal document. So now let's see the fourth one. Find out the expression phrases which denote going away from each stanza. One is given below is the vanish in the throng. This is the first one. Now see here, in the first stanza itself there is almost over, passed his way. Stanza 2, vanish in the throng, rushed along. Stanza 3, were fading now, in parting days, that's slipping. So here some are given to you. And the fourth stanza we have, was it well or sorely spent? Spent here also means to pass away. Okay, or going away in the particular this line. Now let us see the next one. Now the A4 is, the poet has used different poetic devices like alliteration and interrogation in the poem. Identify them and pick out the lines. Okay, I have done for you. The poetic device is alliteration. The day is almost over and its toiling time is through. So here the consonant is T or T. Is repeated more than 4 times. Interrogation is a poetic device where you ask questions. Is anybody happier because you passed his way? There are many questions in the book. You can write whichever you want. The next is 2. The rhyme scheme of the first stanza is AABB. Find the rhyme scheme of the other stanzas. Now the rhyme scheme of the second stanza is CCAA. The third stanza is DDEE. And the fourth stanza is FFAA. Now let's move to the very important question of this particular poem, which will give you 4 marks. Now, there are 2 ways of writing this particular critical appreciation. One is by the method that which of following from the poem 1, and one is the other method that which I will be discussing with you when we finish the entire poetry section. I'll make a particular video on only all the critical appreciations, where I will be discussing both the methods with you. So whichever method suits you well, we can use that. So now let us see the critical appreciation of the poem. Now first, the points given are about the poem, the poet title, then you have the theme, the poetic devices utilized, language, style, special features, that is tone and style, values or message from the poem, and lastly you have your opinion about the poem. Now here we begin. The title of the poem seems to be a rhetorical question which implies moral behavior. See, we can see here clearly. There is a question actually. Have you earned your tomorrow? With a small question marks, this particular sentence becomes a question. Have you earned your tomorrow is the self-proclaiming title to inspire us and use our virtues wisely. Here, earning your tomorrow does not mean earning your bread or earning money. Here means earning your tomorrow here means about your moral values, your ethics, your virtues. It guides us to behave morally. By the end of this poem, we have learned that we should use those moral virtues properly in order to earn a tomorrow. Now the poem. This poem is a didactic poem as it teaches us moral values about behavior and kindness of the heart. We have already discussed that what are these didactic poems. Okay, didactic poems are those poems which give some kind of moral message in that. Now where have we studied? This is a question for you. In which particular poem did we follow the same pattern, or it was a moral message? Some moral message was given to you. You have to find about that and you have to write it in your you have to refer it again. Now let's see here. The poem has many questions and answers which inspire us. There are a lot of questions. You can see in each stanza there are at least 3 questions, and then you have one answer which is left for you to understand. The answer is not given to you actually. You have to understand. You have to take the meaning by yourself and you have to answer it. It gives us a message to behave morally and have good future. These particular questions asked to you by the poet are actually for your own benefit, for the reader's benefit. He directly looks into your conscience, and this particular poet, he is asking you whether you actually follow all the moral values or you don't follow them. Now the poet Edgar Guest was born in England and came to USA at the age of 10. He began his career at the age of 14. He is also referred as the people's poet by his writing because his writing inspires everybody. Now we can also say that Mr. Edgar Guest is actually people's poet because he is in some manner, because of this, through this particular poem, the medium of this poem, he has inspired us. And he has also made us think that whether we are following our moral values or we have forgotten about them. Now his poems are optimistic in the point of view. Now the theme. This is about our day-to-day behavior in the life of others and our own life. It is how we spend our life, or do we use it wisely, or do we spend it sorely. This particular poem is like a questionnaire about our lives and our deeds. Now what else do we see here? It encourages us and others to make them happy by our own good words and good acts, or also known as acts of kindness. It gives us the message to be kind, helpful and bring smile on others' face. If we do all the things directly or indirectly, we can earn our tomorrow. So Mr. Edgar Guest's this particular poem's theme is actually earning your tomorrow by doing an act of kindness. Now as we proceed, the style. What do you think is the style of this particular poem? The poet is known as a people's poet and his writing is optimistic. Yes, we are we are inspired by the poem now. It is written in a simple but effective way. This is simple poem. Simple poem means there are a lot of questions. The answer is left to you, so the writing is simple but very effective. It questions the readers about how they need to change their thought process and analyze their behavior. By these questions you have seen here, see, is anybody happier because of you? Did you give a cheerful greeting to a friend? Can you say tonight in parting with the days? Did you waste the day or lose it? Was it well or sorely spent? See, all these days somewhere question our ethics and moral values. Now this particular poem has 4 lines each. So wherever there are 4 lines in the poem, it's a quatrains. There are 1, 2, 3 and 4 quatrains in the poem. Now the rhyming scheme already discussed. The rhyming scheme of the poetry is AABB, then you have CCAA, then you have DDEE, and lastly you have FFAA. Now we'll make a separate video on the rhyming scheme and how to find the rhyming scheme of the poem itself. Now let us see the various poetic devices used by the poet. The poet has used a number of poetic devices. Let us see all. First is the alliteration. You have seen here. This day is almost over and its toiling time is through. The consonant T is repeated more than thrice. I hope many of you will find other examples of alliteration also, because there are some examples too. Second is interrogation. Is anybody happier because you passed his way? A lot of questions are asked in the poetry. Then we have the paradox. Were you selfish pure? Now see, you have a particular line here. Were you selfish pure and simple as you rushed along the way? Now this particular line, where selfish, pure and simple, this expression is meaningless, absurd. A person cannot be selfish, pure and he cannot be simple. These are two different ideas. It's not opposite of each other, but that's a different idea. So this particular new figure of speech or poetic device which you are learning continuously in this process is paradox. Now there is one more. If you can look at this particular line here in stanza 3, that is the third line, is a single heart rejoicing over what you did today, and above that line, that you helped a single brother of many that you passed. Now do you see any difference in these particular lines? Yes, we see a difference, that a single heart here means one particular person. Single brother here means one particular person. Instead of using is a heart rejoicing over the is a person rejoicing, instead of that he has used the word single heart. Now which figure of speech or which poetic device is this? This poetic device is known as synecdoche. Okay, what is the synecdoche? In this particular figure of speech, a word or a phrase is referred of a part of something which is substitute for the whole object. This particular word here, a single heart, is substitute for the entire person. We'll make a separate video on this. Now see here, the special feature. The poem is the repetition of the sound AY that appears in the second, third and fourth stanza. AY means here, this way, today, okay. Then you have again today, then you have again way, and lastly also you have a and a way. So this particular repetition of this particular sound is very familiar in the poem. Its repetition of questions create an impact on the reader. The questions give rise to a number of things such as moral values, ethics, our good deeds and our behavior. The questions force the readers to make appropriate changes in his behavior. I am sure that many of you would change your thought process looking at the things of your life in a beautiful manner, in a better manner. Lastly, the moral message. It gives us a strong moral message to love and make everybody happy around us. If you cannot make everybody happy around you, at least you can make his day by giving him a smile or speaking kindly with him. Now look here. It also encourages us and it gives us the message to speak good with everybody, at least do one act of kindness in a day, or at least make someone happy. Lastly, opinion. I am touched by the moral message of the poem. I am very happy to learn that this poem has made my day, and I will try to do at least one thing which has been given in the poem, or at least one act of kindness in the particular poem. Now we close the poem, this particular session, that this particular poem has inspired all the people around us. Somewhere there are many questions in our life which remain unanswered. Okay, so this particular poem, I hope it inspires all of us and it helps you to do at least one act of kindness. An act of kindness is not a big thing we cannot do. if we cannot help anybody, we should at least not increase their problems, or we also should not create any problems for them. So we can do this particular thing, that from today onwards we can behave properly with everybody. If not possible by us, at least we can make somebody's day by not giving any trouble to him. I hope you like the lecture. Now we will meet in the next lecture with the next poem, that is 2.5, Father Returning Home by Dilip Chitre.